Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to BS session number 89. If we had a nickel for every time that we didn't have something witty to say at the beginning of this show, we wouldn't need to do this show because we'd be retired in Fiji.
Because I have a shotgun and rifle that I use for, and 22 gauge that I use for ptarmigan, moose, and black bear.
You're so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
You're listening to your weekly dose of BS, Ballistically Speaking. The Ballistically Speaking Podcast.
We should have just let the uncomfortable silence linger there for a little bit and maybe try and make you come up with something else.
I wouldn't have blinked.
I know. You're a sociopath.
That's the good thing about Chris. It's getting him to shut up. That's the trick.
Yeah. I would be offended.
Yeah, there's some good, there's some bad. You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have. Oh, what? What show?
You know, that would be
Facts of life.
Absolutely entertaining if you weren't so quiet.
I don't know. This is the best I can do. How about this?
That actually sounds really good.
I'm not going to have this thing stuffed under my nose the entire effing session, okay?
You're going to have to. You have no choice. That actually sounded like, am I wrong, guys? Or did that sound perfect?
That sounded
good,
actually.
A tattoo sensual, but you know.
Well, as long as none of you are moist, I'm okay with it.
That's a terrible word.
What?
Didn't
it rain where you are?
No. So we are Ballistically Speaking, and we have with us tonight Al Homer. Al, why don't you? We try to introduce people, and it always goes south. So why don't we let you introduce yourself?
My name's Al Homer. I'm from Kamloops, British Columbia. I own BCExtremeOutdoorsman YouTube channel. I am a PRS competitive shooter since 2016, and yeah, make lots of videos on hunting, shooting, gear reviews, jet boating, 4x4ing, that kind of stuff.
The whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Cool.
Basically, my life story on YouTube.
I like those kind of channels, though.
Fishing as well.
Yeah. I like those channels where you just kind of like uploading your life and it's interesting to watch.
That's kind of what it's coming down to.
Yeah.
I'm pretty adventurous. I'm always busy doing something fun, whether it's jet boating, fishing, shooting, hunting, that kind of stuff. So I like to share it with people.
So what made you get into YouTube? Why'd you say, you know what, I want to film this and bring people along for the journey?
Okay, honestly, I didn't start filming for YouTube. My uncle and I used to hunt together all the time. And when he got older, he couldn't hunt no longer with me. So I would video all the hunts for him and make them for him. And when I came back, I'd put them on a DVD and give it to him. And he just loved watching them. And I don't know, a few years into doing that, he passed away. And I just kept videoing. And by the time I decided to make a YouTube channel, which was, I think, 2021, just before COVID or during COVID, I had like 10, 12 years of moose hunting and sheep hunting and everything else. So I thought I may as well put it to good use and share it with people. So that's what I've been doing. That's how it started.
That's a great way to, help bring your uncle along at a time when he was at the point of his life when he couldn't go along, and that's a really awesome story in that regard. So
exactly. Once he passed away, I asked my aunt if I could have some of his ashes, and he shot quite a unique cartridge at the time, a 300 H&H Magnum, and I put some of his ashes in one of his cartridges, and I pack it with me wherever I go, even to shooting matches. He's with me.
It's quite the duplex load.
Is it just his ashes, or is it mixed with powder?
Mm-hmm.
No, just his ashes. There's no powder. It's got a dead primer in there.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say that, like, you mixed it with powder and you went out and like hunted with it or with him or something.
No.
That'd be difficult, but it would have been pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
At a celebration of life, he was I think he was a treasurer of the Trap Club in Trail, BC, and they all loaded his ashes into shotgun shells. There's probably 50 people, including myself, that stood there, and all in order, we took a shot in his memory.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's a good way to
go. Talking to somebody else fairly recently too that we were talking about loading shot shells with.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you because you're not deep throating your mic. That isn't making the noise that you wanted it to.
Likely not.
You were asking
you guys carry on.
You were saying, weren't we talking to somebody that did something like that?
I thought I recall a conversation not long ago. We were having about the same kind of thing, putting ashes into shot shells and shooting them at clay pigeons. You guys recall anything like that?
That does sound familiar.
Was that a conversation that I had somewhere else? Anyway,
I kind of seen something like that on Facebook not long ago myself, but this was back in 2012 when we did that, or 2011, sorry.
Right.
I know there was a company in the U.S. A number of years ago that was advertising that they would load your ashes into cartridges.
With an actual bullet and powder, like mixed together.
Yeah.
Huh. Wonder how that would work for your SDs.
Yeah.
You know, there's gonna be one guy that said that was the best load I ever shot. I'm never gonna get one like that again.
I gotta tell you,
ghostly fast.
Yeah, old Frank, very consistent.
I'm not sure that anybody's shooting PRS matches with them, but I think the idea is that like they're enough that the bullet will leave the barrel, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Not commenting on how much of you will end up on the inside of the barrel.
Excellent. So what part of BC are you from then? What area?
I grew up in Trail, BC.
Okay.
Which is the West Kootenays, and I moved to Kimberley in like 95 and stayed there, or actually 95 and stayed there for like 8 years until that mine shut down, and then I moved to Kamloops where I'm at now.
Excellent. How's the hunting around there? And what do you hunt, or is it just about everything?
My favorite is moose. Probably the top two is moose and sheep. Moose, sheep, goat, caribou, grizzly bear when we could, and probably the last one is deer. I just go out for deer. I hunt black bears too, mainly just to get YouTube content because people like to see that stuff. And the guy I go bear hunting with, he really likes the meat. So,
is the grizzly season closed now?
Yeah, they shut it down. And back in 2017, I think was the last year.
Okay, yeah. I remember talk about it, but I couldn't remember whether they kept it on or it was just a season or two. Or
no, it's still off. I mean, hopefully, if we get rid of these Liberals, we'll get it back in the NDP.
Wouldn't that just make everything better?
Yes, it would. Honestly, it would. Yeah.
Can I sidetrack us for a grand total of 2 minutes? Are you guys aware of the let's call it news coming out of a fundraiser in was it Whitby, Ontario, something like that? Somebody went into this Liberal fundraiser, and in the fundraiser they were talking to these supporters of the Liberal Party about how the Liberal Party and the NDP Party are currently in talks to cherry pick which candidates they're running in which ridings to limit vote splitting in the next election. Not that that's super surprising. I would kind of expect them to do that, but a lot of people are up in their arms about it today, I guess.
Yeah, such is reality, unfortunately.
That took less than 2 minutes. We can get back on track if you want.
Yeah, let's get back on a better topic.
That was my fault. Sorry.
No, that's all right.
Mm-hmm. So I know you also travel to the Yukon as well too for hunting there. What was your last Yukon hunt?
Well, I don't really hunt the Yukon, but I travel through it to get back to BC.
Oh,
yeah. So I hunt in BC exclusively, basically, but I got to travel through the Yukon to get there. But that has come to a standstill as well because they now made that area into LEH and gave out very few tags. So I won't be going there anytime soon again after almost 25 years of hunting the same area.
You're kidding.
Which is very sad.
Mm-hmm. So what area was that exactly? Just roughly. Not exactly, but roughly.
625 region. Management unit 625. Yeah.
But you're talking northwestern BC?
Yeah, very far northwest.
So you that kind of area.
Yeah.
So south of Watson Lake?
Farther north, actually, towards Whitehorse.
Oh, okay. In that stretch there. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a long drive every year. What's that?
What is LEH?
Limited entry hunting. That's where you got to put in for a draw. But I'm pretty sure that the time we go, they only give out one tag now. So I mean, last year we shot 4 moose. There's 4 of us. We all got one, and their biologists are telling us there's no moose.
The experts.
Yeah, I talked to her for an hour and a half last October, and basically she agreed with me, but it's basically all political. I don't want to say anything else, but I think we could probably guess why I can't hunt there anymore.
Mm-hmm. Fill in the lines.
So, I figured maybe it was because they just can't hike the mountains as well as you can.
Yeah, that 100%. That's what it is.
Well, it's because you don't have a helicopter.
The moose aren't close enough to town, so.
Yeah. That seems like the most plausible explanation, actually, despite the fact that it's the most ridiculous one.
The fact is, I did jet boat in to a spot up there last year, and if I jet boat into that spot again, I could still shoot any bull at a limited entry. So I mean, if there was any lack of moose in the area, they would have shut the whole region down for limited entry, but they didn't. Just the somewhat accessible areas. Yeah.
So is there
when do we get the flood?
Accessible areas that you go to then now, or?
I'm going to a brand new area this year. It's going to be quite an adventure. It's limited entry, but the odds are really good. And me and my buddies, we got a draw. We got 3 inflatable jet boats like I have on my YouTube channel, and we're going to jet boat up a river about 220 kilometers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is not a short jaunt. Have you done a long jaunt like that before?
About a month, 3 weeks ago, maybe, I went from Kamloops or from McClure, which is just outside of Kamloops, all the way to almost Clearwater on the river. And I figured it to be a little over 200 kilometers because I took every channel and stuff I could. I used 55 liters of fuel, and I was on the river for 12 hours. From start to finish. I was pretty sore by the end of it. What's that?
Sorry, is that going to be 220 kilometers as the river winds, or as the crow
one
flies?
way? I think as the river winds, one way.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I'll bet you'll see some nice scenery though.
Oh yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. I hope the river's not too bad, but we'll find that out.
Yeah, I hope you don't get too many rapids or log jams.
Yeah, it should be okay, but if one of us breaks down, it's all downstream. You can just float out. I know the guys are going with, they've flown in before and been dropped off just with rafts, and they just floated out.
Oh, okay, yeah, fair.
I feel like I have to try to play one of your videos here in the background while we're talking about this, because I mean, just talking about what you do is one thing. It's a pretty like visually, you do really good with it. Like you've got an action camera at some times, and then you've got another camera that obviously has a telephoto lens. Like what type of equipment are you using when you're doing this?
GoPro.
Yep.
I got 2 of those, and I have been using just a Canon Handycam, but I now have that all-in system for my spotting scope.
Okay.
And so if I have time to set that up, I will. Otherwise, I always have my cameras within reach. Like I could get them out very, very fast if I have to.
I'm just going to kind of let this play on the sidelines while we're talking here. I mean, like that's a hell of a place that you are in this. Like this is your 2023 sheep hunt.
Yeah, that was last year. Yeah,
and like that's a hell of a place that you're filming from right there.
Yeah, it took us many hours to get there, many kilometers.
Yeah, no doubt.
Sure. Yeah.
So
and it's all hiking. There's no vehicles or anything. It's just all walking.
So then you're just like pup tenting, or what are you doing?
Yep. Living off your back. Yeah. Everything you pack in is what you have with you. Yeah. My pack usually weighs about 61 pounds, I guess, with all my food and camera gear, rifle, just everything, clothes, and usually a liter of water.
Just 1
liter. Yeah.
And then all he needs the whole trip.
No, we drink a lot, but at any given time, we only carry 1 liter with us. We'll come across snow patches all the time, and then we'll rehydrate. We'll guzzle like 2 liters right then and there, and then filter another liter and just carry that with us. Yeah.
So let's say you hike this far in and you do get a moose. Are you all just taking a quarter or an eighth, or what do you do? How many people are you going with, and how do you guys pack them out?
In this hunt here, we're just hunting sheep. So sheep are relatively small. We won't shoot a moose in here. Okay. And we have had doubles where we had to pack our own sheep out, and our packs were in excess of 120 pounds coming out.
Yeah, that's a good hike.
It is, and it's just like you see that sheep walking. There's no walk in the park.
Yeah, I bet.
It's steep and rugged and very, very challenging.
Too bad you couldn't just convince them to walk back to your boat with you and plug them there.
Yeah, no, they don't do that.
Yeah, man, are we serious?
Commercial.
That's for commercials now? Unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been hunting sheep since probably 1995. I think was the first sheep hunt I ever went on. I didn't harvest one until 2011, and since then I've been in on 11 kills, and I've shot 4 myself.
From 95 to 2011, you went out annually, but you never.
Not annual, not every week, not every year. No, it's
okay.
Well, back when I was younger, it was expensive to go. Right, you had to. Most of the time, I'd fly in back then, and now I know this area, and we can just hike in.
I think this is the type of thing that everybody wants to do, and we always come up with our own excuses for why we can't. Like don't have the time, don't have the equipment, don't have this, don't have that, don't know where to go. How do you decide where to go?
How do I what? Sorry.
How do you decide where to go?
This spot I found out from another guy. Lots of guys, a few guys have found this spot from my videos.
Oh, really?
They do that.
Just landmarked it.
But I mean, just because you find the area doesn't mean you can get around. You have to, once you get up there, you have to hike, and hike. And if you see a ram on another mountain range, if you want it, you're going to have to go for it, because he's not going to come to you.
But this is the type of thing that, like, let's say you're out there for 5 days and you don't see a single bloody ram. That's a hell of a nice camping trip.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And half the time you lose a ton of weight doing it.
I have no doubt of that.
I think it was 2021. I lost 13 pounds.
Holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So would you say there's an Apex Optics sticker on your hat there? Just coincidentally.
Endorsement.
What was I going to ask here? I had a question, and then the Apex optics completely distracted
Oh, yeah.
me.
Chris got squirreled away.
Yeah. So would you say that most of the places that you find, let's say new places or places that you've been to for a long time when you originally found them, is it more of a who you know than what you know situation?
You know, you're always learning. So, and who you know, I've always been the guy that initiated all the hunts. Like, I've never gone with a guy that had been in an area that I haven't been in before. Okay. Either I hadn't been in there, or my partner hadn't been in there, or we just went in there just on a wing and a prayer and hoping to find sheep.
You just figured it was a good place to try out.
Yep, exactly.
Do you ever like scour maps, or are you just kind of like
all the time
dartboard at a GPS screen? Or?
Use maps for sure.
Yeah, and just kind of try to scout it through satellite imagery. And
yeah, exactly. The thing is, like even this area, to get in there, it is one hell of a hell hike. The first time I went in there, it was just windfall after windfall, going over and under. And I remember one time I stopped and my partner's going, "Come on now, let's go." And I said, "I can't. I'm stuck. I can't go forward." There was no way to go forward. It was impossible. The trees were just so tightly intertwined, and I couldn't go over, under, or through. We had to back up and go all the way around. And we expended so much energy going through that stuff. And like I said, we only had a liter of water with us.
Yeah. So why do you only carry 1 liter? Just because you're expecting to be able to refill?
Yeah, there's always a snow patch, or a lot of times you'll find a small spring coming out of the ground. But usually we know how far we got to go to where there is water. And the last time we leave water, we'll almost make ourselves sick drinking it. We just guzzle and guzzle and guzzle and guzzle till if you bend over, you're going to puke.
Then you spend the next 3 hours stopping to piss every 15 minutes?
Nope, because you're it's coming out of you in sweat. Yeah.
Oh my God. So that begs another question then. What sort of fabrics do you like to wear? This looks like probably obviously below zero, but probably not too far below zero.
That the weather there?
Yeah, like for example, this one. Yeah.
Well, that weather there is probably like, I'm guessing 15 degrees Celsius.
Really?
It's in August.
Bugs flying around.
That's the beginning of August.
Oh, so that okay. Well, you'll definitely get sweaty over that.
Yeah. I've been up there when it was plus 30.
Wow.
Just stifling hot. And if you look around, there's no way to protect yourself from the sun. You got to bring sunscreen and lip balm. Those are the three major things to bring on a trip like this in August. It is sunscreen, lip balm, and bug spray.
Jeez. By the way, which one of us is tapping on our microphones?
I don't know.
One of us is. Anyway, okay. So
I've been here for a little bit too.
So let me ask the original question that I wanted to ask then, in regards to like what sort of fabrics are you wearing here?
Oh, okay. Usually a merino wool, all synthetics. Yeah, like
layers.
To be specific.
Idea.
What's that? Sorry.
I guess layers is the idea.
Yes. Yeah, but I mean it's summertime, right? So I'll bring one long pair of underwear, which is usually just a synthetic of some sort, a lightweight pair. I bring 2 pairs of socks. I bring 2 pairs of underwear. I bring 2 t-shirts, 1 or 2 long sleeve shirts, and 1 sweater, and then my jacket and my hunting pants. That's all I bring for about a 10-day to 12-day hunt.
And do you do winter hunts?
Yeah, for sure. I've hunted sheep in the East Kootenays in the winter, and you got to pack a lot more. And you just end up sleeping in all your clothes.
So you're basically packing the same. You just end up sleeping in all the same.
I bring the same, but I do have a set of puffy jacket and a puffy pants, which are called Mont Bell, and they're a synthetic fill as well. Super light, and if they get wet, they dry quick. Not like down, and I'll wear those. Important. Yeah.
What's that, Derek?
That's but the not getting wet in the cold.
Yeah.
Well, but that's the thing is you're hiking so much. The reason I was asking the question is, I mean, you're going to be wetting all of your clothing. I'm not saying.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying sweating.
And then when you stop, you're going to cool real quick, right?
Yeah, that's why what led me to the question to begin with. I mean, even just hunting in flatlands in Saskatchewan, in November, there's times when we're hunting for deer where it's only -5, -10, but you're pushing through all of the bush in the forested area, and you're stepping through, you're stepping up like 6 inches to a foot with every step. And, you end up pretty sweaty, pretty wet. And
absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, it's the same as any other problem that anyone would have being outdoors, whether you're hunting or not. I mean, I was just kind of curious, like you're obviously very experienced at it. So I was curious with how you dealt with it.
I don't understand, Chris. It's a nice, even 17, 18 degrees in the truck though. all the time.
Well,
can't get a truck up there.
No,
I guess I was asking for the everybody else who isn't truck hunting in Saskatchewan.
Born and raised Saskatchewan.
I actually hunted in Saskatchewan years ago, and I was actually walking, and a guy came up to me and said, "Oh, you broke down?" I said, "No, just out for a walk." And he goes, "Why?" Because I'll get bored driving in a truck.
I honestly, I don't get truck hunting either. I did the typical Saskatchewan truck hunting thing when I was a teenager with my dad, but I remember falling asleep the whole time. I'd much rather prefer what I've done for the last number of years now, which is, we take a quad out to a base camp and then we always walk out from there.
Yeah. On a typical sheep hunt like this, each day you'll put on 17 to 25 kilometers if you're hunting hard.
And each day?
Each day, yeah.
So do you plan that route beforehand, or do you just kind of take it as it comes?
Wherever the sheep are. You know what I mean? If I spot the sheep, we go for it. And you go after them. Yeah. Usually you always spot them like on the next mountain range or something, and you got to go down and up to get to them. The last sheep I shot. What's that?
Go ahead. Finish your thought. I got a question.
Oh, the last sheep I shot, we ended up having to spend the night on the mountain just under a tarp. And we had no food. And in this video there, them things are a godsend. Those are, I forget what they're called. They're chews anyways, that give you lots of energy. And usually if we're pushing up after a sheep or something, we'll share a package, and that gives us the drive and the push to keep going when we're a little weak.
Like a caffeine
chew? Do those chews come from Colombia?
No.
Those chews, somebody was telling us about those.
I forgot what they're called.
There's a number of episodes ago somebody was telling us about those chews.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Do you guys remember that at all? Who we were talking with then?
No.
Man, we have such bad memories.
Yeah, right?
Like a little bit of carbohydrate and then some like electrolytes and caffeine and stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they work really good. I forgot what they're called. I buy them at Sport Check. Usually I'll go in there and I'll buy them by the case in there.
Yeah, they're for like Ironman athletes, right?
Yeah, exactly. Kind of, yeah.
Or at least that's what they kind of market them for anyway.
Well, they make gels too, the company that makes those.
Yep. Like carbo gels and stuff.
Yeah.
Caffeine Bullet, I think they're called. Caffeine Bullet.
No, I can't remember what they're called. Shoot.
They're only $44 on Amazon.
I still have them, but I can't remember what they're called. But they're really tasty. That's it. Honey stingers. That's it, Carly. Honey stinger. Yeah. I always get the honey stinger waffles as well. And I put some sort of nut butter on them that comes in a little package. It's almost like Nutella.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Well, let's with Carly here. She has another question for you. Is sheep hunting your favorite excursion?
Yes, it is. I think, yeah, it's quite the adventure for sure. I love being up in those mountains. It definitely tests you and pushes you to your limits.
I can imagine. I'm a little bit jealous of it, actually.
I've actually been stuck in a tent for 24 hours because it's raining and snowing outside in August.
Yeah. So you just have to wait it out.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, there's no sense going outside because it's foggy. You can't see anything.
Geez, what a terrible life you must live, hey?
Mentally, what is that like, being stuck in a tent?
Nowadays, it's no big deal because my buddy always we bring our phones, and he has Netflix, and he downloads a bunch of videos and movies, and we'll sit there and watch movies.
Yeah. So you guys have like a solar battery bank to keep the cameras and stuff charged? Okay.
I had a solar one. It died, and now I just have a regular one. Just a 20,000 amp hour, and it keeps everything charged for the amount of time I'll be up there.
Oh, that's good. Technology.
Yeah, exactly.
How many? Do you have a pound limit for what you pack in, or do you just have like these are my essentials and they weigh what they weigh?
I try to keep it as light as I can, but yeah, basically whatever everything weighs, it weighs. Like I say, I cannot get my pack under 60 pounds. I try, but just with the cam gear and the spotting scope, if you're going backpacking, no problem. But if you're hunting, now you got your rifle, you got your spotting scope, you got bullets, you got all that kind of stuff. So it just extra bullets, knives,
Do you carry only the one firearm?
Yep, I do. Well, my partner, we each have one. So yeah.
Right.
So what is your sheep rifle build?
Oh, you haven't seen that yet? It's a custom 280 accurately with MDT Hunt 26 chassis with a custom paint job, Insight Heathen brake, Lone Peak arms, titanium fusion action, IBI carbon hunter barrel, Trigger Tech trigger, Apex hunter scope, and that thing is a hammer. I just posted a video of my daughter shooting it, and she just center punched that ram at 503 meters, and she hasn't shot my rifle. She never shot that rifle, and she probably hasn't shot with me in probably 5 years.
So what is that weighing in at roughly, that rifle?
Well, I used to have a really lightweight sheep rifle, but it would give me 3 good shots, and then after that it opened right up, and it bit me in the butt one time when I was shooting at a ram. The ram was at 600 yards or meters. It was quite windy. I watched the ram for a long time. I was confident with the shot. I had an awesome rest, prone with a bipod, rear bag, everything. So I squeezed the first shot off. Just as the ram lifted its head, that's where my bullet went, which is fine. I seen what I had to correct for wind. So the ram ran a bit. He stopped, and I hammered him right in the front shoulder. Perfect shot. My partner seen it, I seen it, and that ram just kept running uphill, and I just kept sending shots at it. And I think I hit it 2 more times, but it went up and over the mountain. And when we retrieved that ram, there was a perfect shot right in the front shoulder. It was a burger bullet, and it just penciled through. And it's the only time that's happened to me with a burger bullet, and I still use burger bullets to this day. That's what I'm shooting with my 280 right now, 175 grain. What are they? Elite Hunters. But I was using the 168 VLDs, and I even there was this other guy on that. I think he's got a hunting forum, and he said to drill out the tips of the burger bullets to make sure you could hit lead with like a welding drill bit. And I would do that with every one, because some you can't. And he says those are the ones that are probably going to pencil through. But all them I hit lead with, and that one still penciled through. And I mean, 600 meters, that's right in the wheelhouse for a burger bullet for perfect expansion.
Interesting.
But yeah.
So even though it went through the scapula, it still didn't expand.
Nope. When it just in and out, just poked a hole, just like a jacketed bullet would. And we both seen it hit him good. And I was hoping he was going to roll down to me after I hit him, and no, he just kept going up and down the other side, which meant we had to go up, and it was steep. And when I was sending the shots, it was probably 6:30 at night, and it took us like hour and a half to get to the top. And as soon as we get to the top, the rain came and the fog came, and that's when we had to spend the night under the tarp.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's the type of thing that makes you believe in a higher power and that he's angry with you.
Yeah. I kind of felt bad when I shot that sheet too, because I didn't know it, but 200 yards to our left were two other hunters that were watching that ram at 400 yards, but they couldn't decide if it was legal. They couldn't decide if it was legal or not. And like, man, if I would have seen you guys, I've shot lots of rams. I would have definitely helped you guys out, and helped you get that ram. But
yeah, but I mean, if you had to hit super ram with 3 rounds, what are the odds?
Yeah, but they were 400. They were 400 yards away from it, so that's way more doable.
Yeah, I suppose they were 200 yards closer, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now this shot, this
shot
was I know, like, just reading recently about some shooting at angles, like shooting it eventually at a steep enough angle, you have to factor that in, because your shot will actually change in that regard.
Yep.
Have you had to incorporate that into your hunting?
All the time. Kestrel does that for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just put in the angle.
Your essential gear.
Kestrel. Don't leave home without that.
Mm-hmm.
I always have a backup dope card on my buttstock or on my magazine or somewhere, just in case electronics fail.
Mm-hmm.
Rifle, of course. I carry a pair of Swaro range-finding EO range binoculars, nice and crystal clear, and the rangefinder. I don't have to pack another rangefinder. I just use that one. And the ballistic solutions that thing gives out is usually a 1/10 off from the Kestrel, so it's all good. I'm not going to shoot at an animal past 1,000 yards anyways. So, I mean, if I'm out a 1/10 at 1,000 yards, no big deal. Good pair of boots. I like Loa boots. I have like 6 pairs of them. I've never had them let me down. Highly recommend Loa boots.
Loa boots.
Yes.
Let me guess, you don't have arguments with your wife about the amount of shoes that she has?
I don't have a wife.
Probably smarter than the rest of us.
Problem solved.
Why do you think I go jet boating and shooting and hunting and
Roger that.
Yeah.
Al saw all the problems preemptively and took care of them before they became problems. Mike, did I see you trying to get a word in edgewise earlier? Did you have a question?
I was going to say, when you're packing all this stuff, what is your pack of choice for packing all the things up the mountain?
I use a Kuiu 7200 backpack. Yeah. I mean, I've had it for quite a few years. I'm sure there's better ones out there, and a lot of people say they don't like them. Well, it's kind of like binoculars. What my binoculars might not work for you, but what works for you might not work for me. But I find them quite comfortable, and it works really well.
How many liters in size is that backpack?
7,200. Yeah, I'd like to try a new one, but I'm getting to the age now. I don't know how many more trips I'm going to be going on. You know what I mean?
Sorry, I think I must not have heard you correctly. I asked how many liters in size is the backpack. You said 7,200.
7,200 cubic inches.
Oh, cubic inches. Okay.
Yes. Oh, you were asking liters. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, 7,200 cubic inches. Yeah.
I don't even know what the hell that is in liters. Anybody else know?
It's American.
I used to know the conversion.
I know, but every time I go to buy a hiking backpack, they're always measured in liters.
7,000 cubic inches is 115 liters.
Oh, yeah, so that's a good size backpack.
Yeah,
that's big. Yeah,
that's big. Yeah,
and it is full. It is.
Yeah, 60 pounds for sure.
Yeah.
How much of that is food of that 60 pounds?
I want to say like 16 pounds of that. 16 to 20 pounds. Yeah.
And that's for like you said, a 10 or 12 day excursion?
Exactly. Yep. I usually pack everything in a Ziploc bag for each day. So I got a certain amount of food for each day. And once the way I like to hunt sheep is I get to a central camp, or a base camp or whatever. That's where I'll leave my tent, and I just day hike from there. Or if I have to, spend the night under a tarp.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's why we put so many kilometers on, because we're always backtracking and coming back most of the time.
And you find that easier going back and forth than actually carrying your tent, setting it up, taking it down every day, and all that sort of stuff.
But most of the places where we hunt, I don't think there's a lot of places to set the tent. You know what I mean? I guess we could find a spot, but where we have the tent, there's a good source of water. U.S. Army issue backpack is 80 liters.
Yeah, so you pick out your like a good home base that has the things.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Now, do you pick a home base that's relatively easy to backpack out from if you do have an emergency, or?
Yeah, if we head out real quickly, we could probably be out in about 8 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just watching the video while you're talking here. You had to back up 5 kilometers from this point?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, because of log jam.
That's crazy. We've been sitting here watching you boating up this river for the last like 6 or so minutes.
Yeah, I got it
around 5 kilometers.
Yeah, and the river was right on the other side of the log jam, but there was no way through. And it was a fun little. What's that?
And no way just to like. I noticed it's an inflatable, but still no way to pick it up. And
no.
That's got to be piss off.
Yeah.
Hey, little quick segue. How about we pay some bills and read some ads?
We should do that, because we didn't do that.
Well, we'll do a midway ad read.
Do it.
All right, just one moment, please. We are brought to you tonight by EM Precision Rifles in Leduc, Alberta, building Canada's finest precision rifles. Find Shane and Steve on Facebook, Instagram, and on their website at emprifles.ca.
Mike, you want the next one?
Oh, I'll take it. Next, we are brought to you by Bolt Action Coffee, bringing specialty coffee to the precision shooting world. Order coffee and merchandise at boltactioncoffee.com.
And Call Sign 66, Canada's best rifle training. Welcome to the Brotherhood. Book a course now at callsign66.ca and follow them on Instagram at callsign66 and on Facebook at C/S66.
Man, when you're talking to your mic like that, you sound so good.
Haven't been able to get in here anywhere.
Sorry, I've been fascinated by this whole thing. I've been completely bogarting all the airtime.
I know.
We're also
a list of 36 fucking questions now.
We're also brought to you by Odell Engineering. Pick up a Canuck shotgun or a Bergara rifle from your local distributor and tell them Phil sent you. Look them up on Instagram, Facebook, and on their website at odellengineeringltd.com.
We're also brought to you by Apex Optics. When you buy Apex, precision comes standard. Check out all the fine competition rifle scopes, red dots, and binoculars at apexoptics.co. Be sure to check out their pre-sale special on the new Apex Optics binos and red dots. They get some nice 15 by 56s, couple red dots. Check them out.
And we're also brought to you by Ripstone Gunsmithing, craftsmanship done right. Contact Oscar, ripstonegunsmithing.ca, and breathe life back into any firearm.
On the Shooting Edge in Calgary, Alberta, home of the Sterling Arms R18, an indoor range, training courses, a new 6-lane axe-throwing bay, and the One Shot, One Spill Cafe. Find them on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, X, and on their website at theshootingedge.com.
And finally, by March Scopes Canada, the Dion Optical Design line of rifle scopes has a scope for all your hunting and shooting needs. Find Doug and Niza at marchscopes.ca. And hit that like button, just like 1AB said, hit that like button.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
And go subscribe to BC Outdoorsman if you haven't done that, or BC Extreme Outdoorsman if you haven't done that already.
That'd be greatly appreciated.
Should I shut the hell up and let you guys ask some questions, or should we segue and then come back to hunting with Hal?
Oh, we can
Segue to what?
we can dive into the PRS for a little bit and then go back to the hunting. So
Oh, I wasn't going to segue to PRS.
There's
Oh,
other
you're
things
gonna stick-
besides PRS. Since when?
I was going to go completely off the beaten path for
Mhm,
about 5 minutes, if you guys are willing.
mhm. Well,
Let's have it.
if I feel like we'll just let you take the keys and put the pedal down, and we'll
Nobody
buckle up
wants-
the seat belts and grab onto the shit handles and hold
Nobody
on.
wants to tell me to fuck off on air.
Mhm.
Yes, the segment
Okay.
brought to you by Extreme Segways with Chris.
So,
We can tell you're worked up, so we might as well let it get out of you.
well, I got two things I got to mention, and if it sparks conversation, then great. If it doesn't spark conversation, then okay. And actually three things, because 1AB is mentioning this as well. So the first thing is, have you guys been paying attention to the Senate committee inquiry about the Donald Trump attempted assassination?
As much as I could stand.
I've been mainly looking at memes.
It is effing crazy. If you're actually paying attention to it, what is happening there is absolutely bonkers. So the head of the Secret Service testifies in front of the committee, and they actually asked her, "Do you want to keep your job? Do you like your job? Do you want to get fired?" And she's sitting there with a straight face the whole time. She's like, "No, I do want to keep my job. I don't want to be fired." But at the same time, she's sidestepping questions better than Trudeau at a
It's
climate
ridiculous.
summit.
Can't be that good.
Oh no, like she was next level. Like I wouldn't be surprised if she was tutoring Trudeau.
Trudeau is a shitty fucking scale, but we get the drift.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a scale, however.
And then the next day she steps down anyway.
Yeah.
And the director of the
It's a
FBI,
slow proof.
yeah, well, exactly right. And then the director of the FBI gets on there and starts like contradicting everything that she did say, and essentially kind of throwing her under the bus for his entire testimony, including things like, first of all, apparently he didn't climb up a ladder that they had set up. He climbed up the pipes and on the air conditioning unit beside the building, according to the director of the FBI. And secondly,
Maybe
the-
Spider-Man.
So she says, or sorry, he says, the FBI director says that there was a sniper team on the second floor of the building beside it, and the window that they were stationed on overlooked the rooftop that the shooter was on. And that when everybody, and so the next obvious question is, why didn't they see him? And according to the director of the FBI, they were pulled away from their station to go and look for the guy. And so the
Some
sniper
Looney Tunes stuff right there.
and so the sniper team that was actually tasked with covering that roof wasn't there. They had left their station. But then she says that actually didn't happen, and that one of the two people in the sniper team left momentarily and came right back. And the reason they didn't see him is because where he was on the roof was in a blind spot from what they couldn't see. So anyway, clearly I'm the only one who watched this, so I don't know how interested you guys are in any of this. But if you wanted like to relive what it would have been like for our parents, watching everything that was going on after the Kennedy assassination, there's some things that are coming out of this that are, I guarantee that eventually there's going to be some stuff that like just as crazy as like the magic bullet theory. And we're like, I'm waiting for like somebody to mention that like Zapruder's grandson was at the Trump rally and he has the definitive photo of the second shooter on the water tower, you know?
So
Like,
we're going to learn this in 50 years.
Well, everybody else after the Kennedy assassination, they learned it in the like 5 or so years after the assassination. It's just none of it's been
Did they
confirmed.
learn it all?
Well, they didn't learn much. Most of it was classified.
Was Kennedy on was Trump on as much meth as Kennedy was on when he was in office?
What,
If you don't believe me, look up Dr. Max Jacobson. Go look that up, and you will. That's a wonderful rabbit hole to go down.
well, if you believe the whole Stormy Daniels thing, then he was definitely getting laid as much as Kennedy was.
Yeah, him and Monroe definitely on meth together.
Well, who knows, right? Anyway, I'll move on from that. So there was a really big announcement that has been kind of making some waves in Canadian gun culture today, and that is the announcement of the Crew Arms crypto. Now, okay, so how many of you, by show of hands, how many of you have seen the video?
I saw the image, but I have not looked into it. Some of us have to work for a living.
So, fuck. So, Coat of Arms got an exclusive scoop on this. Not that much of a surprise. We have a very close relationship with Crew Arms. So, Crew Arms sent them a prototype model, and they made a video on it that they released today. And it is basically the exact same thing that Maccabee Defense and ATRS and all those other guys were making when they had their non-restricted AR platform rifles before the OIC. This is basically that, with the exception that it does not take standard STANAG AR-15 pattern magazines. It takes a proprietary magazine that they have made a it looks like it's permanently coupled double-ended magazine, and you can only put 5 rounds in each side, and the whole idea being that it's not modifiable to be able to take more than 5 rounds. So I think their idea is that they have created a rifle that is now what was the criteria everybody was talking about a little while ago? It accepts 5-round magazines. It does not accept any magazines that are capable of holding more than 5 rounds, and it is not permanently unmodifiable to be able to accept more than 5 rounds, which is
the Canadian dance, hey?
Yeah, which is a crock of shit, because all they did is, from what I can tell, is they put a channel in the magazine, and then inside the magazine well they have a groove, and so if you have a standard AR-15 magazine, it butts into that groove and it won't insert into the mag well, whereas their magazine has a corresponding groove channeled into it so that it will, which means, I mean, what can you do faster? Take a PMag and Dremel a channel into it, or take a rivet out. Like, which can be modified quicker? But at least they're making an attempt on that regard.
Right. That's kind
Here's
of irrelevant,
my
Chris,
problem.
because it's the goal is to make something different, unique, whatever that can't be used in other firearms, right?
Yeah,
Can't
that's
use
clearly
other
their intent.
magazines. Yeah.
That is the dance that manufacturers have to dance.
Oh, absolutely.
And then dance has been going on for over 100 years, so this is nothing new.
Yeah.
No.
That's how we have the Winchester Widowmaker shotgun, because of patent law.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, here's my potentially controversial opinion on this whole thing.
Dun, dun, dun.
I want to know whether they have an FRT on this rifle. I am willing to say that the chances are probably higher that they don't have an FRT on it. Other than the magazine well design, and I mean, they've changed how the upper mates onto the lower, but not in any, significant way that ATRS and Maccabee hadn't done before them. If they don't have an FRT, almost everything else on this rifle is AR-15. It takes AR-15 barrels. It's a direct impingement AR-15 gas system. It takes AR-15 handguards, takes AR-15 buffers. It takes AR-15 furniture. It takes AR-15 triggers. And here's the real kicker: AR-15 charging handles and actual AR-15 bolt carriers and bolts. So whereas Raven was trying to comply by making a proprietary bolt that looked very similar to the AR-15 bolt. Crew Arms has created a rifle that actually accepts the AR-15 bolt. And my concern, if I'm looking at buying this rifle, my concern is, and I heard the MSRP is about $2,000. So I spent $2,000 on this rifle. This seems like it's a matter of when, not if, the RCMP takes notice of it and decides, no, this is exactly the same as the ATRS or the Maccabee or the TSR or the that we already banned by name because they're basically derivative of the AR-15, variants of the AR-15. It seems like a matter of time.
Let me ask a question if I can stick in here right now. Don't they have to have an FRT, an inspection that passes through the lab before they can actually go to market?
So I'm not completely
I'm not
versed
sure
on
how
this.
that works.
Yeah, I'm not completely versed on this, but it's my understanding that as long as it was the design began prior to January of 2024 when those regulations came in.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now, I guess I don't know what the burden of proof is for that. I don't know, like, what sort of proof do they have to show that it was in design before January? But if it's my understanding that if it was being designed prior to January, that it essentially gets grandfathered into the previous regulations where it can be released before an FRT is issued.
I would suspect you'd have to have drawings with at least an engineer's seal on it, dated before that, maybe.
And that may
that
be
would
the burden of proof.
probably.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd take a bar napkin with some scribbling as long as it's dated.
Well, I would imagine that
You
other
would.
like imagine if they could like have correspondence with manufacturers or drawings
Right.
with a digital stamp on them. I don't really know. So, and yeah,
180
is
brings
like,
up a great point though about poly and the evergreen clause.
Mhm.
So
Now the evergreen clause never got passed. The evergreen clause was part of the C-21 amendments that they backtracked on.
Okay, so the evergreen clause does that have solely to do with the variant? I think the variant
Yes.
stands. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, the evergreen clause allowed them to retroactively go back and apply their criteria to any other rifle that's made after it.
Hmm.
But like I say, that was part of the amendments to Bill C-21 that they ended up backtracking on. It never got passed. But
for some reason, I thought the variant part still stood somehow. I thought it was
if
separate.
the RCMP decides that this rifle is not a novel design, if they decide that instead it is a variant of the AR-15 design, then they can ban it, just like they banned all of the other rifles on during the OIC. So what it comes down to is when the RCMP's what the hell's the name of their division? Their firearms division,
lab.
The firearms lab. Thank you. When the firearms lab gets their hands on it and they take it apart and they look at it and they say, well, this thing is 95% AR-15. Literally the only thing that's different here is a magwell. And like, yes, the upper mates differently to the lower, but like I said, the Maccabee, the ATRS, the TSR, all of those had their own mating system between the upper and lower. They weren't compatible with the AR-15. They all got caught up in the ordering council. ATRS and Maccabee, basically, they don't exist anymore, essentially. Like their businesses are essentially gone over that ordering council. So other than a little channel in a magazine well, this thing is like 95, 97, 98% AR-15. It's as much AR-15 really as the ATRS or the Maccabee or the TSR or any of those other rifles were. And here's why that bothers me. Crew Arms has to know that.
Mhm.
And I'm talking as a consumer now, okay? Crew Arms has to know that. So what's the deal here? Are you just trying to sell as many of them as you can until they get banned? And okay, you wouldn't be the first company to do that, but the landscape is different than it was before. I remember when the OIC was looming, companies were trying to sell all of their AR-10 pattern rifles. You know, they were just trying to get them done. Maple Ridge was desperately trying to get the M762D on the market before the ordering council. Like, they wouldn't be the first company to do that. However, the landscape is different now. Back when that was happening, you could buy a non-restricted. There was no paper trail. So there were the consumers that were like, okay, well, I can buy this thing. If they ban it, I can just leave it in my safe until the conservative government is in power. And, you know, and I'll kind of get it back again. And I know we don't like talking about that, but I mean, that's what people did for more than 12 years with the long gun registry. You know, they just essentially they become safe queens until the conservative government can liberate them, essentially. But now there's with the changes that have already happened, the companies have to. There's the backdoor registry exists. The companies have to call and verify PALs now, and there's a trail for that now. So much riskier thing for a consumer to purchase this rifle, and then when it gets banned, to just keep it in their safe until it can be liberated. And here's the thing: nobody from Crew Arms goes to jail. It's the poor dumb son of a bitch who bought the rifle and decided to try and keep it in his safe instead of turning it in that goes to jail. And so that's my kerfuffle with this whole thing. I've spoken too much. We have a guest, and I've been Al has at this point, but I've said what I need to say. If you guys want to say anything, carry on, and then let's get back to Al.
Well,
When do they plan on going in production with these guns?
They are the video said that they intend to release it for sale at TACOM.
Oh, so that's okay.
It's only a month and a bit.
Yeah,
so me and Derek will get to fondle them, and we will give you our impression live.
Yeah, and I can tell you right now what your impression is going to be. Oh, this is an AR-15. You know,
no, my impression is how hard is it going to be to convert to 6 arc? That's all I'm more worried about.
The answer will be very easily. I mean, that's the thing. It's probably going to be a great rifle. I just question, as a consumer,
motives.
Whether it's smart to buy one.
Well, they're not going to come on the show now.
Yeah.
So Todd makes a good point. The reference number isn't tied to a specific firearm. That is true. But Todd also knows that the individual gun stores have to keep logs now.
Yep.
That's where the registry comes in.
Yeah, the back door.
Yeah, it's not a difficult paper trail to follow.
So are we missing something? Because unless these folks have more money than I can even envision, yes, it's a risk, of course, but that's a lot of cake to throw out there to produce these things in this environment. So our suppositions around the components of it, and that they're virtually ARs, and that they're going to be banned as soon as they come out. Our assumptions, are we missing something that they are so confident that this will be marketable?
I think we're missing what they are probably seeing, and that is the speed of government.
I think we should have him on the show and ask him.
It's
much easier.
Yeah, that's a good possibility.
I've asked them in the past if they wanted to come on the show. They said they didn't. I've asked the same of Kodiak Defense. They don't want to come on a live show, but let's just make this guaranteed. Let's reach out to them and try to get them on.
I don't see why not.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Why are you so confident? Because. Good night, folks.
Yes.
Thanks for coming.
Maybe
All right,
they
let's
think
get back
because the government is so slow that by the time they do get around to it, we'll have a new government in, and
Well,
everything will be good.
That's not a dumb proposition.
That is a real possibility. Like it absolutely is. I think my only concern with it, like my concern isn't on Crew Arms end. I think that they're going to sell thousands of these. They're going to sell them as fast as they can make them. My concern is everybody who buys one, when it I don't know. It seems like a pretty big risk for me.
So do you suppose, though, the legal gun buying public out there, they're looking at those specific firearms, and how many of those people who would be able to purchase one of those really wouldn't know at least the basics surrounding that, like a semi-automatic 5.56 rifle that is so close to shares so many components with an AR-15 that they wouldn't be educated enough to realize that there is a high risk in buying one of them. What sort of percentage do you think? Like I can't see it being a high percentage of people going, well, I just didn't know.
I actually think the opposite. I think it is a very high percentage. I think that the average gun owner in Canada is not very well informed on what's going on.
A lot of that is true, Chris. I'll agree. Yeah.
And not because they're idiots. It's just
that's
there's a lot to keep up on.
No, you're right.
And the Canadian gun community communicates by telegraph still, so
that's not wrong. But
what's wrong with telegraph?
We're in we are news media in the gun industry, and we're not up on everything. There's too much to be up on.
It's yeah. It's funny. Carly made a comment quite a while back when we were talking about Kennedy's assassination, and I think she put in there into the chat. He's talking about Reagan. Nobody's old enough here to remember. Yeah, to remember Kennedy. I'm like,
How old are you, Al?
Me, 56.
Oh, you're even older than Rooster is.
Yeah.
Both of you guys
catching
remember
up to him though.
But even at 56, we're talking about your parents were going.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. I might have been alive when that happened. I'm not sure when did that happen?
Was it 60?
62?
62?
Okay, no, I wasn't alive.
63, I think, yeah.
I was born in 68.
Your daddy's eye yet.
I remember Reagan though. and Carter.
We're going to have to move on to PRS and hunting with Al because Jens says that was the longest 5 minutes.
The honor.
So we saw you at the Apex Rocky Mountain Challenge match a couple weekends ago. And actually our background photo is of you right now, actually, on the canoe stage.
Although all we can see is your ass and your trigger finger.
and the edge of the rival too, of course. So all the important bits. So
yeah.
So how was that match for you?
It was an awesome match. I really enjoyed it. I thought I don't know if it's the same for everybody. If I was to change anything with that match, it would be just the targets we ranged. They should have been full-size Zip 6. That's about it.
Across the board, just everything, full size.
Everything.
Well, just on the ranging stage. Oh, everything else was perfect. Yeah.
I see. Yeah.
The blind
stage. Yeah. Instead of the 8-inch and the 16-inch, it should have been full size Zip 6.
I gotcha.
To give you a little more room for error. But no, I really liked the match. It was fun. Yeah. Yeah. Wind was challenging. It was a challenging match for sure.
Do you think that has merit that go ahead, Rooster, I'll save mine for later.
What direction was that? You guys were shooting west? Did I hear that correctly?
I think it was, yes. I
It was
heard
West.
someone else say that too.
It was
Yeah.
West.
And how long into the day did the match go? Both days.
Between 2 and 3, I guess. Is
Well,
that right,
that's not
guys?
so bad then. Yeah.
I think it was about 3-4. Like everyone was off, cased up, and ready to peace out.
Mhm.
Good.
Yeah, that was a good match. Yeah, they made sure we were all hydrated and had snacks in us, and I heard the washrooms were really nice. Oh, Van just said east to west.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
You heard the washrooms were really nice?
Yeah, I never used them.
Yeah,
They
you
don't have
are.
that-
Should have missed out.
Man, that white trailer in the middle was just.
That's what I heard. Yeah, I heard it was very nice.
Poor guy's such a consummate outdoorsman. He didn't even get to enjoy the luxury washrooms at the shoot.
Yeah, was it air
Some
conditioned?
gems in the grass.
It
though.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was air conditioned
just-
as well.
yeah, it wasn't too hot either. Coming from Kamloops, where it was like 35 degrees that week, 28 was quite a welcome.
Mhm.
Well, I heard it was very hot like the several days leading up to the match.
Yes, that's what
Yes,
I
it
heard
was.
too. Yeah.
What has evolved in your PRS kind of, I would say, skills in the last couple of years? What do you
In my
think has changed for you, and what are you working on, and what do you see as a whole?
What do I say? Well, I got a lot of new gear, that's for sure. MDT and Apex Optics keep coming out with new stuff, and of course, it's hard to keep up with that.
Mhm.
But I practice lots. I got a practice gun now, which is a 223. I do lots of dry firing in my basement, incorporated with me working out. So I will dry fire after doing a set of pull-ups or something, and that way my heart rate's up and I'm out of breath.
Mhm.
Timing myself for speed to the point where when I go to a match, guys will look at me and say, "Al, you need to slow down. You're going too fast. You got 45 seconds left."
Mhm.
So that gives me time to slow down. And now I just got that new MDT timer, so I should be able to keep an eye on that a little better.
Nice.
Yeah.
You do find that also exercise and dry fire. Do you find that helps with hunting as well? Because obviously,
Oh yeah, for sure. What really helps you with the hunting and the shooting is a book called Secrets of Mental Marksmanship. That is my shooting Bible. I read that once a year in the spring, regardless,
Mhm.
and it just seems to work. You get in that zone, and nothing's going to stop you.
Yeah, that's Keith Miller and Linda Cunningham, if I do remember right. I do have the book, and I've been trying to do the same thing. Read it once a year here.
And it's a very easy read, and it's like I say,
it's a game changer.
Yeah, it is. Honestly, it is. Once I started reading that book, I started placing in the top 10 very consistently, if not podium finishing.
So on the mental side of PRS, what are some examples you could bring up from learnings from that book?
Learnings?
From those lessons in the book.
One of the biggest ones was that little saying that they said to make up just before you are going into conflict or starting a stage or going to shoot at an animal.
Just a mantra.
It kind of gets you set to go into that zone, and you mean business. Yeah. My saying, it's go time. Yeah.
Hopefully the mantras don't come from like Chris Farley skit or something.
So what?
Stupid. Chris Farley skit?
Yeah.
Stupid.
Gotta make this shot or you'll be living in a van down by the river.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm going to start saying
I like that mantra.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's just a really good book.
Cheese.
If you guys haven't read the book, I highly recommend it.
I don't need a book. I have a German for that.
Ease your mindset.
No, I just do what he says or else. It works.
Yeah.
Can I take 5 seconds here and just say hi to new mother, Kirsten Hansen? Congratulations She had her baby.
Bringing new shooters to the
Oh.
precision shooting world.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
She was out at the Twisted Rooster Ranch shooting a CRPS rimfire event at 9 months pregnant.
Oh,
In
wow.
all her big belly glory.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no excuse for anybody to say, "Oh, I wasn't feeling like going to the match." You have no excuse.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no kidding. Hey, you're weaker than a 9-month pregnant lady.
Mm-hmm.
She says, Kirsten's in the chat again. She says, "Let's hear Jens's mantra." You know what? There's so much trauma associated with it. I can't remember precise words. It's just he yells, "I do."
His mantra is Mach Schnell. That's as loud and aggressively as possible.
Right.
So what
Oh, definitely.
cartridge were you running at the match there, Al?
6 Creedmoor
Mm-hmm.
Good choice.
with a 115 DTAC. But I'm thinking once I got two barrels. They're pretty much new right now. Once they're done, I might go to a 6BR.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking.
Why are you
I
thinking
shot-
the bigger?
I shot Ryan McLean's gun at my range one time. He came up and we practiced together, and it just shot so good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my 6 Creed shoots good too, but I just couldn't miss with his gun. And he said it's easy to load for, and barrel lasts a lot longer as well. So you don't have to worry about your barrel going south on you in the middle of a match. Which it's
31 grains of Varget and go.
Exactly. That's just what they say. And yeah.
So you also went bear hunting with Ryan McLean too. Tell us a little about let us about that trip.
Oh, him and I go every year. Like I say, I wasn't a huge bear hunter until Ryan and I started going. Him and his family really love the meat. So when I shoot a bear, I give the meat to him because I don't really need the meat. I got my 2 freezers full all the time. I've shot a moose every year since 2007. So that
Lucky bastard.
not luck.
That's not luck. But I'm
Al's
saying
living the dream.
You can even
This year.
The area
might
that
be
I go
luck.
to, you have to be drawn for moose, and
Yeah, I know that's the thing, right? I have to be drawn now too, and I'm
you
going
do?
to an area that I haven't hunted before, so it's going to be
Right,
starting
yeah.
all over.
I guess
How
you
long
did
is the season in BC?
For deer or
For like say for moose, like what's your a season average for BC?
where I would go, it would open on September 1st and then would close on at the end of the month, I believe. Then it would open again the second week of October for 2 weeks. So it wasn't a huge season. Yeah.
Still doing better in
year,
Saskatchewan.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Chris, what do you guys
Is
get?
it hard?
4 days.
No, we usually get around 2 weeks. Sometimes a little bit less, sometimes a little bit more. But in that 2-week period, I only ever get to go out for 4 or 5 days because I can't get away from work any of the rest of the times. In fact, this year I may not be able to get out at all because I'm in Hawaii for work up until I think it's just like 6 days into the season. I get home. And then I'll have been gone, so I can't just pack up and leave again. So I'll have to be at work for at least a couple of days. I might be able to get out for 3, maybe 4 days, the last 3 or 4 days of this year's season.
Yeah,
We're spoiled
elk
in
in
Alberta.
Saskatchewan is all convoluted because it starts out typically I think it's the last week of August. You can go out for elk archery only. And then there's a short break in there, and some of the open zones are, I think they're open for 10 days or something like that. And then they have another fucking season that, what is it, early October or something, that it's 4 goddamn days, if you can remember, if you can imagine that.
4 days.
And then sometimes they'll have a late season near Christmas time in select zones if there's if the experts have determined that there are excess elk in a particular zone. It's so convoluted, it's not even funny.
Does the whole
That's the
town
same,
shut
same
down
way
during
here.
those 4 days?
Yeah, exactly.
What's that, Derek?
Does the whole town shut down during those 4 days?
Well, it depends on what town.
Not
Mm.
anymore.
Yeah, no. Nope.
So what are your tips for hunting bear, Al? For a new bear hunter, what would you tell them?
Look for green patches, look for scat, look for sign, lots of glassing, and just lots of cruising. Like whether you're on a quad or a truck, get to a vantage point where you can glass. Last light's always a good time. Again, first thing in the morning, but you'll see them out all day. Hunting during the rut is another good time for them, which is in beginning of June. They're out cruising all the time. You can see a bear anywhere at any time.
Speaking
And
of
don't miss.
Have you ever tried calling bears?
Yes, I have. I got a grizzly bear on my wall that I called in.
Oh, how is that?
It was cool. I had a grizzly tag. We were hunting up north. This was in 2010, I believe. And I spotted a grizzly bear about a mile away. So we cut the distance in, and then we seen him probably 500 yards in the timber below us. Okay. I always carry a predator call with me. There's one with me all the time. I just started squeaking on that thing, and he came right up on the opposite side of the ridge for me, and I hammered it. It's actually I got that on video. It's I think it's 2011 moose and grizzly bear hunt on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah, to see that bear getting shot. What's that?
So there's something to look up.
Yeah. I've tried that before with black bears in Saskatchewan, and had some success. Never shot anything, but actually called stuff out that we couldn't see, but was making a whole bunch of noise. You want to talk about an uneasy feeling?
Yeah, for sure.
I think that probably the difference between what you're talking about and what I've experienced is that, you know, you get up into the bush where the bears are in Saskatchewan here, and everything's, well, not flat, but there's hills and that, but it's virtually, you can't see, beyond, lots of times beyond 30, 40 yards.
Oh yeah.
At least you had a vantage point and you could see that bugger coming. But you get in deep somewhere in black bear territory, and you start squeaking on a bloody predator call.
They can come in fast.
Could be coming from anywhere. They're faster than me.
For sure they are. Yeah.
What did you say? Sorry, what would you say was the title of that video?
I think it's 2011 moose and grizzly bear hunt, possibly.
That would be cool.
I see moose and grizzly bear hunt in northern BC. It was posted 2 years ago.
Yeah, that would be it. I think there's. It could be one my cousin shot.
Well, I'm going to say it's this one. I'll share the.
The video's not very good. Like I'm talking, this is back in 2011 when
cameras weren't as good.
No, exactly.
Like my experience when I used to guide in the Yukon was you just shoot a moose and the grizzlies will come.
Yeah. That was against the law in Canada or in BC. That's baiting. We're not allowed to bait here. Even if you shot a moose and you just, that's where it laid, and you took it out and left the guts. If a bear comes, theoretically you weren't allowed to shoot it.
Right.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to see that video that he was talking about, we just posted it in Facebook and on the YouTubes.
Yeah. Put a lot of shots into that bear. I think at the time I was shooting a 33-78 Weatherby.
Oh yeah.
We put it in Rumble for you guys watching us on Rumble as well.
So your moose hunting, what is your cartridge for moose hunting, and why?
338 Lapua.
You go big or go home. And
because it kills moose dead.
Really, really dead.
Yes. Yeah.
So
and that's a lightweight gun too. That gun only weighs 9 pounds 8 ounces. That's a Cadex 338 Lapua with a proof carbon barrel. and Hunt 26 chassis.
Pretty big fan of the carbon barrels, hey?
I only got 2, and they're both my hunting rifles. Yeah,
Oh,
both
okay.
and both of them.
Just the ones
And
we're talking
both of them. Sorry, what?
Just the ones we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay.
And you have, both of them are in a Hunt 26 as well?
Correct, yeah. And they
That's-
shoot lights out, man. Lights
That chassis is mostly carbon fiber too, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, and I think the manganese or something is
Magnesium.
magnesium is the receiver
Mhm.
part. Yeah. I really like that chassis. That chassis not only is light and ergonomical, it mitigates recoil really well. Like I won't own a rifle that I can't spot my hit or miss with, and that 338 and that 280 AI, I can watch the bullet go and hit its mark. Or people just can't believe it. The 338. Actually, did a video not long ago of me standing, shooting it off a tripod, shooting a 14-inch steel plate at 700 meters, and standing, I could watch that bullet go.
So what do you use for ear pro when you're hunting? Because you're talking about your 280 Ackley and that it had a brake on it. I assume the same deal with your 338 Lapua. Do you have ear pro that you use that you wear all the time? At least when you're stalking an animal, maybe just in preparation for that shot.
If I always got just regular, what are they, Desi Damp Classics in every pocket. And if you ever look on my backpack, I have a Nosler little pouch hanging, and there's earplugs in there. And I've had those earplugs since the 90s. I've shot moose, I've shot caribou, I've shot grizzly bear,
Degreased,
I've
of
shot
course.
deer. I don't use them anymore because they're too dirty. It's kind of a superstitious thing
They're
now.
just a lucky charm now.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I still carry them with me all the time. And if I had to, I would put them in my ears. But
So just standard earplugs then, really.
yeah. I do have like X-Core ear pro, but I don't know. I usually I know when I'm going to shoot.
Yeah.
And if I'm
just kind of curious, like through most of my life, I've never worn earplugs while hunting because you can't hear anything. Well, now tinnitus is probably worse than any sound it could be.
Mine's not very good either. Yeah. Like
I'm starting to think about it more because of my boys coming up now and stuff like that. I don't want them ended up in the same position as I am. So I think about these things like what a guys typically wear when they're hunting, how much they wear them.
If you think you're going to shoot, put the earplugs in.
Right.
I mean, if it's a surprise thing, like I think 2 years ago, I had to shoot a grizzly bear in self-defense. I didn't have a chance to put earplugs in, and I didn't hear the shot, but my buddy sure did.
Well, it's better hearing the shot than feeling the bear.
Yes.
Exactly. Right. Yes.
You
There
know,
was a
there was
crunching noise.
I was on the cusp of asking you that question a long time ago. Madeline Daniels had mentioned something about, I don't want to scroll all the way back, but something like bears.
Tent being
what was
a
it?
candy wrapper for a human.
Candy wrapper for bears. And it was kind of leading me to asking that question that you guys only carry the one rifle and so like you're not carrying a backup for predator control. And so it kind of leads to the natural question, like you guys just rely on your hunting rifles if you do get charged, and obviously you have been.
Yes, I have. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. The bear's no longer with us.
How
Would
far
you
away
rather have that rifle or a sidearm?
Given your
the rifle was good enough.
Yeah.
I mean, if that bear would have got on us, I'd rather have had a sidearm for sure. Yeah.
You're not worried.
And if I could, what's that?
Sorry, go ahead. No, finish your thought.
I said if I could, I'd carry a sidearm, but we're not allowed to.
What would you carry for a sidearm?
Outdoorsman.
I got
What's
a
your
Model
dream
6.
if I could?
If I could, it would probably be a 10 mil, but I do have a Model 69 Smith & Wesson 44 Magnum in my safe.
So, Chris? Yeah.
I have a Model 29 too, 44 Magnum.
Okay. Yeah. So I would be carrying that for sure. Absolutely.
I would also carry the 29 too. Yeah. There's no question about it.
Yeah. Yep.
I've shot a 460 Smith before. I think it would probably be a 6-inch barrel or shorter.
Yeah.
And man, that thing seems to me at least to pack a whole lot of punch. I don't know how
Yeah,
they
for
compare
sure.
it to a 10 mil, but I've heard the 500 Smith is even more violent. That kind of gets me a little bit moist even thinking about it. But I think I'd be somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah. I don't want something too
personally.
big because like you got to pack it, right?
Mhm.
True.
Yeah.
That's not a light gun.
No, exactly. And yeah, I don't even know how many bullets I'd bring, but probably not too many. Like on a typical sheep hunt, I think I only bring like 10 or 12 rounds.
Oh yeah. I used to carry a 358 Norma mag when I was up in the Yukon guiding for moose, with 250 grain spears in it, going just about 2,800 feet per second. That old
Jesus.
Husqvarna was that old Husqvarna was about 7.5 pounds with the old 4-power Leopold on it. And it's nice to carry around, but you knew it when you lit that sucker off.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about these Americans that carry like a Taurus Judge with in like 45 long Colt or 410 Magnum slugs and stuff like that? Do you guys know what the Taurus Judge is?
Yeah, I'd rather have the 44 Magnum myself.
I would too,
Is that
honestly.
right?
I really would.
Glock 20 with an aim point acro.
In 10.
You know what? The old lever action 4570.
570.
Like a carbine.
A mare's leg?
No, definitely not a goddamn mare's leg.
A mare's leg with a full stock on it.
Not that short. You need something that'll swing a little bit, like the what are they, an 18-inch Marlin? Those guide guns.
I don't know how
in
long
4570, 18 or 20-inch.
Yeah, they're pretty small. Yeah,
they swing, they shoulder nice, and they pack.
And they're quick to reload.
I think that's the answer, honestly, for a guy doing what you're doing.
A guide for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And still have the handgun for a backup.
If you had a favorable CFO in your province, which yours is still federally appointed, correct? In BC? Your chief firearms officer?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Let's just assume for a moment that you had a favorable CFO, whoever they were. Do you think that you would, like with what you do you think you would qualify for handgun carry for wilderness?
I don't think so, no, because I'm not. I think they'd only do that if I was working.
But
I don't think they'd consider. Would they consider YouTube as a job?
Well, I guess that's the question, isn't it?
That's the question. Yeah.
Because I mean, they don't like. They don't let guides carry them.
Surveyor would be.
No.
Yeah, I know, but they don't let guides carry them, right?
Trappers have a hell of a time getting it, but they do every once in a while. But guides, good luck. I think the criteria is wonky.
Surprisingly, helicopter pilots. I know a couple of helicopter pilots. They're like, for us, it was like walked in, fill it, form, boom, out the door, because they have their go bag with them. So if they go down, you don't want to be carrying an extra weight. So when we were on a couple of cruises,
they just pulled the elitist card.
But they only can carry it. They can only carry it in their helicopter, though. They can't take it anywhere else. I mean, if they landed in the bush and they go for a walk, I guess they could bring it with them. But
yeah, it's only for if you go down, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Stranded, mechanical failure. It's not like they're walking through everywhere town with it. It's for a reason. It is a
lot of people in Ottawa need more nature walks. A lot more.
Well, that's the thing. They're the ones in charge of deciding, but they're the ones who know about what's going on.
100%, man.
I mean, I'm not trying
to. They'd realize how many trees we actually have in this country.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, last night I went and checked my trail cams. I still brought a shotgun with me. You never know, man. When you're going to run into a bear or cougar or whatever.
Well, there's a lady by Haines Junction in the Yukon on our walk. She had to deal with a bear, and luckily she got out of it. Or in that case, her dog helped her. I know Unfortunately, in some other cases, the
I saw
dog has
that.
been a hindrance. I actually drove past that. What I think is the spot a month back, and there was a bear known to frequent that trail that I had saw at the time, and my coworker at the time also had seen it. So maybe it wasn't her best choice for her because it's a known area, but that's where you live, so you have to learn.
I was going to say she lives there, right?
Yeah, so you gotta learn to accept it and have a plan, and that is literally your backyard, literally 500 feet out of town, just about. It's there.
Start a campaign. I think nature walks for politicians. I think that's
Haynes Junction Nature Walk, guided politician nature walks.
Yeah.
Guys,
I
we
will
all know what you're
volunteer my
implying.
time.
In RCMP, they are not implying what you think that they are implying.
Oh, come on. Fucking fun
Here's
sponge.
an interesting suggestion from 1AB. Says contact Silvercore. I've heard that they've successfully gotten multiple people carry permits for doing exactly what you're doing, Al. In fact, probably even less so, because you actually are doing it as a job. I mean, as a media, entertainer, media, whatever you want to call yourself,
creator,
content creator, influencer.
Now, Al, what is the most scared you've ever been in the wilderness situation? What is the most terrifying thing that's
someone
ever
proposed to him?
The most scared I've ever been. As an adult or as a kid or just my whole life?
In a wilderness situation, whatever you feel like sharing.
I can remember when I was a little kid and I was fishing in a creek, a dirt bike down to it, and I was fishing, and all of a sudden I heard footsteps running towards me. I looked behind me, and there was a bear coming at me full bore. And I'm just a little kid. I ended up in the creek, and the bear it took off. Well, that scared me pretty bad. I was only like 10 years old.
It was black bear or grizzly bear?
Yeah, that was a black bear. Yeah,
that's at 10 years old. That is you're pretty small still.
Yeah. As an adult, like being super scared, I can't really think of a time.
Even in the grizzly charge situation, did you able to keep your calm?
I was in my zone. It didn't even bother me.
Honestly, you just kind of put that aside. And you knew what you had to do. And
when you were
the hardest part was getting my gun off my pack. Because you ever watching the movies when guys are fumbling trying to undo stuff, and I was looking up at the bear, and I kept looking at my gun, but once I had my gun in my hand, a calm came over me, and my buddy shot at the bear, and the bear just hunched. He shot at it to scare it, and the bear just hunched up like a cat. All his hackles went up on his back. He stared at me, he showed me his teeth, and turned his head sideways like this, and I just put one in his neck. Because he was coming. I know that predatory move.
He dared you.
Okay, fuckers. Is exactly that stance. Yeah.
Exactly. So I put one in his neck, and he went like 30 yards, and he laid there dead. Yeah. But honestly, I wasn't even scared. No.
Not even after upon reflection.
No, I was scared I was going to get in trouble.
Isn't that crazy?
That's usually the way that
murdering me, and my biggest concern is whether the government's going to be mad.
Exactly.
You should have known better.
And that was August 1st of 2022, I think.
Oh, that wasn't that long?
No, and when I phoned the CO, I told him the story. He said, it sounds like you did what you had to do. And I said, you want to talk to my partner? He goes, nope, I got your story. He goes, you got any pictures? I said, yeah, I took a few, but not many. He goes, text them to me. So I did. And so that was August 1st. And he said I was the third guy in the area that had to shoot one in self-defense.
Oh, wow.
And the season didn't open until August 1st.
Huh.
There's no shortage of bears up there.
I think you've already said, but was it a brown or a black?
It was a grizzly.
It was a grizzly. Okay.
A big one. Yeah. It was the head on it was just humongous.
Just an old ornery son of a bitch.
Yeah. I did a little YouTube. What did I do?
What do you do in that situation with the animal? Like, do the
Just left
COs
it.
come pick them up? Is that
I
right?
left it, and
Are you allowed to take it?
No. And it's funny because in the Yukon, if you shoot a grizzly in self-defense, you have to pack the hideout.
Right.
Oh,
Yep.
You have to. And if I had to pack that hideout, I would have had to make 2 trips.
Yep.
I would have had to just pack that grizzly out, and then I had to come back for the rest of my stuff because it was too big. So once I shot the bear, there's a lodge where I leave my truck, and I had her cell phone number. So I in-reached her and told her to call the CO that I just shot a bear in self-defense. Here's the coordinates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So she phoned the CO, gave him the coordinates, and he goes, "What are these numbers for?"
Oh my!
I'm like, "Holy cow, man!"
Oh, hopefully it's even if it was your first day on the job.
Yeah, I know he
Oh,
didn't.
no, man, I just work here.
That's
So they
not
did
a
nothing.
card.
They did nothing with the bear. They just left it. And I mean, I was on top of a mountain. There wasn't a tree within 2 miles.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That bear totally stalked us for 4 kilometers.
Mhm.
I don't know who played that.
I hate to say this, Mike.
See a show of hands.
It's Mike. I think what's happening, Mike, is your headphones might be tapping against your mic stand.
Yeah, that's probably possible.
Yeah.
Hour and a half, and we finally figured this out.
Well, the last 2 times that it happened, I muted Mike right as it was happening, and it
Did you?
Right.
Mhm.
I kept looking at everybody to see who was moving at that time.
I don't know why I didn't test this theory an hour ago.
Yes,
SMRT.
that's more
better.
peaceful. That's better.
Well,
Yeah.
since my mic is unmuted now, question: Sasquatch, yes or no?
Definitely.
I would say yes, but I've never seen one, and I don't want to.
Mhm.
Definitely, maybe.
Fair
That's
enough.
definitely maybe.
I know lots of people that have seen them.
Mhm.
My
Really?
brother-in-law and sister are one, and I actually did a video on my YouTube channel where I took my brother-in-law to that exact spot, and he explained the whole story.
Mhm.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was on the riverbank of the Columbia River, just on the United States side of the border, right, the Juanita border, just outside a trail. It was in the early 90s, and they were going to Spokane or Colville or something, and they looked across the river, and they got tired of watching them, and they just left because it was on the, it was across the river on the beach, quite a ways away.
It was
Mhm.
Kurt.
They didn't.
In the area.
What's that?
It was Kurt when he was outfitting in the area. I just saw him in the morning before he put his clothes on.
That's
How about you guys?
I kind of put it this way to people. You have, being that it's as intelligent as intelligent as a human, but has the senses and smells of a predatory wild animal. Like imagine having the smell of a dog,
Exactly.
that kind of sense is as soon as somebody's up in your area, you can smell them from miles away.
Mm-hmm.
So to easily be concealed and covered, I think, is a very real possibility.
And most of the time when people see them is along a creek or a river where their senses are a little dulled.
Mm-hmm.
right.
You can't hear as good.
Here's my
Personally,
thought.
I think they're smarter than humans because A, they've evaded humans for so long, and B, they've just stayed the fuck away from humans. I'm jealous as hell.
They don't pay any taxes
I
either.
wish you were that good.
Yeah.
I know.
Here's
I don't know if I wish I
was.
was that smelly though.
Here's the thing. On the
I
island
think
of
you're bongoing again, Mike.
You are bongoing, Mike. Yeah. On the island of Tasmania, they thought that they had hunted the Tasmanian devil to extinction in the 1800s, and for like 200 years, they thought that it was extinct. And in the late 20th century, they finally found one in the wild again.
Yep.
So if the Tasmanian devil could disappear for nearly 2 centuries on a tiny little island
like that,
Tasmania, then the Sasquatch, the abominable snowman, and all of that shit is more than plausible.
I'm hopeful.
Mhm.
I was
I
100
see
yards
the
away
people.
from exposing one to the front of my service truck.
Whereabouts were you on? Whereabouts were you, Mike?
Northern Ontario. Middle of the road, there's something that's probably 8-10 feet tall and hairy, walked up on 2 legs across the
Dude,
road.
that was just a minor.
That was Kurt on my back. We were walking across the street after a bender.
I saw what I saw.
Mhm.
I saw what
Yeah,
I saw.
exactly. When I went through the border that day with my brother-in-law, they asked me what we were doing. I said, "Oh, my brother-in-law years ago seen a Sasquatch, and we're going to make a video." And I said, "The border guy, you ever seen one?" And he's like, kind of had that look on his face, and he goes, "Yeah, I have." And he's seen one on the road traveling back and forth to work because he lives maybe 20 minutes from there. An upright bipedal being walked that was like 9 feet tall, hairy, walked right in front of him.
Mhm.
But the look on his face when I asked him, it was like, I know he's seen something. And he told me
He just wasn't sure whether he wanted to tell you or not.
100%. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
please, I like my job.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what? Whether they're real or whether they're not real, I do not want to run into one in the middle
No.
of the forest and have it love me and hug me and call me George.
I don't want to see one even at a mile away because then I've confirmed I know they're there.
Right.
Well, but it's even worse. If you see it from a mile away, then you got to question your own eyes, right? It's like, did I see it? Did
Yeah.
I see what I saw? But I mean, you see one up close, and like if there's like no doubt in your mind, that's got to be
I'll never see one anyways because I always have a camera with me.
exactly.
There you go.
Right.
That's good.
Exactly.
You won't see
Yeah.
it till we review the footage, and it was like 50 yards behind you, and you had no idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do one of these shots. Yeah.
You need
How's it
an
going?
instant 360.
Yeah.
Vampires don't show up in mirrors, and Sasquatches don't show up on film.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, they don't show up on trail cams.
Yeah. So at this point, we're like almost 2 hours into the show. Al, let's give you the last word on anything you want to talk about,
Anything I want to talk about.
including plugging the YouTube channel and where everybody can find you and everything else.
Well, my YouTube channel is BC Extreme Outdoorsman. I've been doing it for a little over 3 years, I think. Yeah, I try to put out a new video once every week and a short every week. I'm going to keep doing this until I retire. When I retire in 3 years, I'm going to go at it even harder. This is just kind of the prelim coming up to me retirement. When I retire, I don't know, maybe a video a day or every 2 days or something.
Oh, wow.
That'll definitely keep me busy, and I'll be shooting and hunting and jet boating, and as long as I can do it. That's for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good plan.
That's a hell of a retirement right there.
That's what I want to do.
Mm.
Yeah. 3 more years to go.
Mm.
Almost to the date. Yeah.
Any of you guys got one last question or anything you guys want to say?
I think we covered mostly everything.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think Al's got, I agree with Blind Spotter. I think Al's got lots of stories, lots of interesting things to say and talk
I
about.
think-
So,
Yeah.
I'll come back anytime you guys want. This has been fun.
You got to
Like
let
if
us
we
get
do
into
this
shape
again-
and then take us on a hunt or something.
Right. Right.
I can't really do that, though. I could take you for a deer or a bear, but I can't take you for a moose or a sheep or anything. I'd have to be an opener.
I don't care if we see anything. I just want to go up into the mountains again.
Oh, yeah.
I think Chris wants to get on the jet boat.
Yeah, I wanna get on the jet
Put
boat.
on some aviators, put the hat on backwards.
Just don't let me drive because I would probably try to launch one of those tree dams.
I concur.
That wouldn't hurt it. I run mine on ground all the time.
Do you? Oh, well, then let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah. Actually, tomorrow I got a friend coming from the coast, and he's bringing a jet boat like mine, a Striker with a 60-40 Merc on it, and we're going to go up to Clearwater. We're going to try to run the Clearwater River.
Oh, nice.
But we're going to jet
and I
boat
just-
from here all the way up to North Thompson, and then get up onto and we're going to pack our tents and that. We're just going to crash somewhere on the riverbank.
That's
I'd like to take this opportunity, though, if that ever happens and you take Chris along somewhere, I think you should know, Al, that Chris's idea of a survival firearm is a 22 rim fire. So just I think you should know that.
They're going to buy an 807 just for that occasion.
And I am bringing a firearm tomorrow too, because we will be spending the night on the side of the river, and you never know. So I'll be bringing
Bet you it's not a rim fire.
No, slugs, man.
I'll get a 44 Magnum Henry just for the occasion.
Oh yeah, there you go. And then next weekend I'm going to Lillooet. I'm going jet boating, I'm going sturgeon fishing. I met a guy on from my YouTube channel. He contacted me and asked me if I wanted to go whitetail hunting in Alberta. He's got like this November. He's got like 14 sections of private land that we can hunt and a house and everything to stay on right around Red Deer somewhere.
Oh yeah,
and, it's easy street.
He sent me pictures of the animals, and so I'm going there for a week. And his bucket list was to go sturgeon fishing. So I'm taking him sturgeon fishing next weekend.
Awesome.
That's awesome trade.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah. And he's quite the outdoorsman himself. He's lived in the Yukon and BC, Alberta. He's been all over, and he's shot Dall sheep, stone sheep, grizzlies, all that kind of stuff, caribou, moose. Yeah.
Jeez.
He's quite the outdoorsman. So we'll be making videos on all those.
Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're still watching us, if you haven't given a like or a thumbs up or a subscribe, us or Banyak Precision or Mr. Bongos or Al, make sure that you do all of that. You can find the Ballistically Speaking podcast at bspodcast.ca. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/BS podcast. You can find Banyak Precision on the Instagrams at Banyak. Is it Banyak _precision, guys? Or
no, it's all one word. Banyak
just at
Precision.
Banyak Precision on the
betcha.
Instagrams.
Yep.
If you want to email us, you can email the show at info@bspodcast.ca. You can You can email the Banyak boys at banyak@bspodcast.ca. That's BANYAK. Look it up. It's Ukrainian, I guess. And as always, a massive thank you to all of our sponsors and all of our viewers. Without you guys, Al would never have agreed to come on this show in the first place, and we wouldn't have had a really fun show tonight. So we're talking about Shane and Steve, Miles, Carrie and Cappy, Duncan and Rob, Phil Odell, Doug and Nisa, Vanya and Carly, Oscar and JR. Thank you all an immeasurable amount, and thank you, Al, for coming on the show. This is really good. You know, sometimes I'm really hesitant to have like hunting folks on the show because they just don't want to talk about anything. But I mean, it was a real treat having you on and talking about all your experience.
Well, it was nice. You guys had the questions to ask, and that helped a lot too. Yeah.
Well, okay, it was all us. We carried you.
Yeah, exactly. If I could I say thank you? Could I say thank you to all my sponsors as well? Carly and Van at Apex Optics, thank you very much for supporting me in my shooting in Denver's. MDT, and as well as Inside Arms. Thank you guys very much. Really appreciate it. And great products and great people.
Excellent.
Definitely.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
Well, Al, thank you very much for the last 2 hours of your time. And everybody else, we will see you all next time.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
I got the buttons.
Oh, yeah. We're not ready for the buttons here?
Yes.
Oh, I got the buttons.
This is the professional.
Got the buttons. There you go.
Oh, crap. Wait. Oh, hey, there it is.
Because I have a shotgun and rifle that I use for, and 22 gauge that I use for ptarmigan, moose, and black bear.
You're so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
You're listening to your weekly dose of BS, Ballistically Speaking. The Ballistically Speaking Podcast.